Yeah. Look like pretty nice glasses, so I'll make sure when I go, I. Oh, the state, yeah. That's where the. And that's different. One more thing. So small that we're trying We'll put it down. I feel true. I think this is first from my third. You don't, I don't. But you know, you don't get the rats. You got to have a little flag. Yeah, I feel like one of the months. I think around here. Yeah, I'm gonna. Give it up here. Yeah. Excellent. On there. We gotta go. We gotta take those handlers. We just we got all in big weeds. It looks like we've been there. Alright, to vote, bro. Alright, so. One better. Yeah, I mean, what's that idea? Which of the looks like farmers or farm that puts it like company thing? Is the owner of the property, it's 270 A, C. So they're gonna start back. Really,
Do you have any?
I mean, so the owner of 300 Midway Road is 278 Midway Road LLC. If you can think of me, the same. Yeah, I don't really have any contact information for him. I mean, no, the name of the company itself is 270A LLC. And their address is really not in the middle of here. Yeah, 111 Village. That's happened for 30606.
And when you look at that,
No, I mean, it just has that new information, for the Midway Road. But really that's, yeah. That's, I mean, I guess it would be public knowledge, you could look it up in like, I guess it would be the Secretary of State, is where everyone, files their LLCs. Yeah, so if you were to look up 270A Midway Road LLC, I mean, here you should be able to find, person in the file.
the owner of the one wants to know it. With the, airline.
Yeah, that's just, happens to that stuff, fine to the Midway Road LLC. Let's see if I should ignore that. That house, Sally Robinson, as president of Sally Robinson. So I think it's probably a family from, yeah. 111 Village. But I'm really surprised. Look at that name, it's my wife. And I don't find any Sally Robinson, like Sally Williams. When I see that, it's really what it means is that the property from the state, that estate hasn't been miscommunicated as yet, so we probably know.
Whatever,
Yeah, that is right. I know some states that down.
someone that's on, they forget it, so they're on their own program. But
I mean, that's what we could go to reach out to that. that note, since someone's there, on the phone, so we've been very ready. We've been. Well, we can find that. But, if you like, I can stand this, listen, go.
And then the pay for it, I'm gonna take on that property, like it could have gone, that's why I was involved. And
It should be sitting. Without one.
now, time, and, you know, about like, the last time, I was frustrated, if they're not there, you know, something, so you're, they're not. And also, if there's one about that here, but it's also, never know if it's done. I don't know what time it's put there, that's really not, that is not how I'm, not enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have anything there, that's really.
I mean,
That's why I'm under some sort of.
looks like it. See what, sometimes that's the hardest part.
If you don't, if you don't want me to talk with someone, that's all I'm. If you know. That's all I'm not, you know, that's your mind.
Really?
About, if they want to talk, I'm all right, that's fine, but they don't. But I don't really want to, you know, now, I don't have to be. So, and then. It was, no, I mean, not that I don't want to. So, I don't want to. I did a little bit of here. Okay, so. So, here. Maybe it's not like.
Well, speak out. Now, you look at really seriously. That house is pretty prominent on. Sure. I mean, that would be completely honest before the, moving staff, see, in comparison to those that were, you do have. But, yeah, I was in a weird town. I seriously got, shotgun, around a village. You go out on the east side, Well, well, I think so, you know, if you question, you know, that I think that or 500. Yeah.
I'm good, how are you?
I got a community tree council meeting at 4, so I always stay
Uh-huh.
second Monday of the month, so.
Uh-huh.
How many people?
Until 5,
Okay.
yeah.
And so are you part of central, certainly part landscape? Like,
Um,
how's it play out?
Civil services, but from what James was saying, like, I guess I'm helping everybody on the same side, like, I'm just not everything that's happening. And then how I can then make it more efficient.
So central services.
Yeah.
So you can do it.
I come in at 8.
Hour
Yeah. Yeah.
So you only get 30 minutes. Exactly.
Yeah. But you can think, like, what,
3:30.
yeah.
Yeah, especially because I got kids, so.
Yeah,
School, and time, yeah.
exactly.
So when I'm so 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
He's about his rate or.
Yeah, I went to school down here.
Oh, that's cool.
I went to college. I went to UVA. Yeah. Beaver. Mhm.
That's one of the areas.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say.
Oh, okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
You graduated this year.
Yeah, I just got my master's. I did undergraduate too. I graduated undergrad in 2024 and my master's in.
Well, that's when.
Yeah. I know.
Actually, you're like.
Right.
Well, all right, we'll get ready to proceed.
All right.
Let's talk to you. Let's see you. You don't feel your worries. Yeah, finally got my insurance. Fine. Yeah, yeah, no, it's looking good, thank you so much. I'll think about it. I'll be on. Well, you think you should get good, I'm gonna take it across, I'm all meetings. Around. I did, so actually, I don't know if it's still girdling roots that are doing it, or another side. Well, you can see. And I can't be sure, it may be both. I don't think it is, it's a 300. Really? Is there any way that you can rip one of the trees up? Like, like we could cut it right here and take it, break it, so we can pull the leaf all out, and all of it. Because if we could, we could do that, pull it out, bring it back here, and I'll wash it off with like fresh out of the water. So we can see if they're early roots. And then, then it's like a really good show thing, something, if we can like pull it out of the ground and then pressure wash it. A lot of times, if they transplant it, Yeah, they planted them 4 inches in the ground. Unless they were shot, they could put it first foot in. Since I'm not real, like they were anything for like 3 or 4 years. So we continue doing something, yeah, but the guy, here, like, this wheel is it's like, yeah, but the ones that are doing all right are the big ones. The smaller ones are all the ones that die. So, or, yeah, the ones small with the stuff, yeah, and the potential is there for that. So, I like to pull forward, and see what we see, because that'd be way easier than we go out there stage. So the ones try to for time. The ones got one, it's the dentist in the blood. It's probably just a purpose. So we're celebrating for you during that day. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Then I'll hear saying, and just try to follow their minds. I think maybe a little bit, over there at the police station. But I irritated some of them and left some of them. Yeah, so I can show you kind of what it looks like just after. But I really want to get to them and do a bunch of work. So, but I guess that's a matter of, let's see if like tractor or skids here over there. Where we can get tractor from there. Yeah, just pull it out. Okay. I'll follow up with you tomorrow. I have a first person, so I'll just chat with you tomorrow about it. But yeah, I definitely looked at them. I was flummoxed too. Another word about I don't know. I got straight. Yeah, so those other ones aren't coming back. Yeah, really, I just want to do a little, like, when you go there. The one, I do want to like figure out what's going on with it, so they can pull it around. It's like, not
Good morning, I mean afternoon, what is
I
it?
know, it's one of those
Today it
things where
never
it's just,
ends.
it just seems like it's the same time all day long.
Yeah, it's kind of strange weather.
Yeah,
It's kind of great like this, it is hard to tell.
yeah, it's just the thing all day long.
The other day I was sitting at home and just thinking to myself, like, gosh, this is such weird weather. And then I thought to myself, I'm glad I didn't live in 1816. Y'all ever heard about the summer of 1816?
Is that
Was there like a volcano?
The summer with no
the,
summer,
with
the year with no
the year,
summer.
yeah,
So Mount Tambora erupted in late 1815 in December, and it blotted out the sky. And 4th of July in Washington D.C. they had snow.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, like things froze over here in Georgia, like and Frankenstein, the novel Frankenstein, right? So Mary Shelley, who wrote it, she was on a summer outing with a few of her author friends, and they were going to Genoa, Switzerland. And they had to stop at a hotel because the lightning storms were so bad. So they stayed there for like 4 or 5 days. And to kill time, they were like, let's all do a ghost story. Like each of us writes a ghost story,
Yeah.
and then we'll bring them together. So that is where Dracula was written. The first ever mentions of Dracula, and then Frankenstein were written.
so that,
Or she started Frankenstein, and those lightning storms.
so that was a catalyst for a whole series.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
wild.
crazy.
It's good to be productive when the weather's like this, cause I just look outside and I'm like, ugh, I don't wanna do anything.
Yeah, it's just
I
like-
really don't wanna write creative writing. I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
now.
I can say that. You can't say that yet. Well, I think a little volcano every summer would be okay with me. Oh,
Not a cannibal size.
not a winter.
Some of like the global warming,
Or not.
like like polluting.
You mean
Create that kind of cloud cover.
geoengineering?
Y'all.
Geoengineering, that's scary.
Yeah.
That seems fraught with peril.
Yeah, yes. it is. And but the powers that be are going to do it to us because they created the problem and they're the ones that are charged to fight it. I don't know.
Lots of money to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Filming
To who?
for the world. If you know who,
What's that year again?
1816.
1816, because 1819 was that article in New York Times about the
Nunnery.
start of
Works for the plants, but I'm the new arborist. Hi.
Nice to meet you guys. Sure.
I'll have to look. Yeah,
Interesting.
1860.
Just.
I'm especially interested because 1816 is when Malthus Ward was on the frontier with the different tribes. He's the guy that I think created the tree that owns itself legend. But he would have been a frontier doctor in that summer, probably with the Hidatsa. Like, so pretty interesting stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not answering the phone. It's past my
WARD, Ward.
WARD, yep. Malthus Ward.
Mateo, we had to take down the water oak in his
Which-
backyard.
Oh, you did? What kind of was the nail in the coffin?
A limb fell on my neighbor's house and he didn't want to hear it from me anymore.
He said.
He was like,
Really?
he's like, we tried. He didn't even say that. He's like, he said something more like, we wasted tons of money on this. And I was like, I don't consider it a waste. And then that didn't really excite him.
I think the birds that used it enjoyed it thoroughly.
So I don't know. It's been really, I mean, the tree trunk, the base
Huge.
is huge. Like
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
6
it's
feet
huge.
tall and I can lay across it both ways.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest
That's a massive.
holes. of a
It was-
water I've seen.
That
It was huge.
is a significant hollow in the center.
No,
Pretty-
no, it was totally
It
solid.
was healthy.
Stand you off here.
That's the wrong answer, Natalie. You were supposed to say it was gonna fall anyway.
It's got about 6 inches of light.
Remember, it had like the fruiting bodies
There were
at
some
the,
big
at the
ones.
base, and so maybe there's root rot or things like that. But no, I couldn't be at the house.
I understand.
Yeah.
I have the same
That
problem.
changes the whole.
Oh yeah. I mean, I might stop crying about it in years.
About the time the next one gets that size.
I wish I could live to see that. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want to live to see the next.
Nice to meet you. I'm the new arborist for the planning department.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
She is the new witch.
The new wick, okay, I was wondering when we were gonna get a new wick.
Younger than Wick.
Did Wick go back on Wayne?
Where do you?
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Oh, sell out.
And what's,
His wife was from Connecticut.
Is he
They had family up there.
gone?
Yeah, he's
I
from.
didn't know he had.
They haven't sold their house yet, but they're up there now. His wife got a job at Pierce University, I think. Can't remember. And he's, I think, just looking for something. I mean, he's been an educator for years.
Andy, is that what she?
Andy, yeah, yeah.
and what's your name?
Rachel.
Rachel.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Rachel.
Gomez, or
Gomez.
I'm sorry, Kingsbury, I just got married. So
Gomez,
just say
Your secret is safe.
Still sounds weird.
They changed my name in the system a few days ago, and I keep having to remind myself that's me, and it's not somebody else.
I told my wife not to change her name just for the paperwork. It's like, I don't,
Yeah.
it's not do the paperwork.
It's
She was
a
like, that
lot.
sounds great. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We'll wait a few more minutes until,
I remembered your maiden name, and that's your married one, is it?
Kingsbury, it's
Kingsbury,
spelled
okay.
Bury. I'm sure with, some posh accent, it sounds a lot better, but
it's British.
yeah, super English.
So I always have to be like, it's green, not fancy.
Yeah.
It's like the color. There's so.
It just likes the color.
I mean, it's-
Something about it.
it's-
Yeah, it's like, oh, you know. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Something to
And
say.
I liked his Steve, right? It's like it was made.
Agenda or something?
Yeah, we've got like a slight agenda there. You can pass it around.
Yeah. Would you pass that?
Oh,
Thank you.
Sorry.
We'll just give it a few more minutes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, one more. To vote at least, but we could always start too. Agenda's going around. Thank you for making that, Lauren.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, that was a really good idea to keep the other agendas on the same page. That just makes a lot of sense.
We can see some of our accomplishments.
Well, also then I
And
don't
we-
have to go and like find like, oh, let me find that agenda.
Yeah,
It's like, I just pull up the agendas. Brilliant. Why didn't I think of this? Go figure. Wow.
We'll see.
So well played.
So, yeah, I just kind
Um,
of, from the past meeting.
Let's see.
Do we have one that's faster?
Natalie's got the agenda.
I'll get this one then.
But while we're passing that agenda around, I guess we can go ahead and start with a few things that I wanted to just like add on top real quick, right? So Stacy, did you send out that email earlier today?
Well, it gets confusing, and Stacy Smith sent it out. I
Okay.
understand it gets confusing, yeah, about Green Life. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, it used to be the fact that our Green Life Expo paid for us being able to pay for the greenhouse for our Green Life Awards. Now we've run out of that money as a whole, so each group is gonna have to pony up a little bit of cash. I think it was $25 or $35 maybe. So it's not much, but that would be on top of what we pay for each of the awards later on. But they just want to make sure that everybody's on board and willing to pay that extra amount. Going ahead and doing that early now while we have time. So I think technically we will have to have 7 people here to vote to say yes, give that $25.
I bet Helen will show up since she's a
Official. So Helen has been waiting quite some time to be part of our ranks. Finally, the commission has agreed with our assessment.
Your first chance for an excused absence and you blew it.
No, let's not use those. So I guess.
Oh, I can sign in the upper level.
Yeah, man, you can use my pen even.
It doesn't matter really. So an additional $25 for the Green Life Awards this year, to cover everybody's costs. I think we will need to make a motion to pay that additional $25.
I'll motion.
More motions. Motion
Second.
for approval, there we go.
Very quick with that second. I know, I could tell you really wanted
I
that.
missed my chance.
I know. Oh, right, you were very eager. He was going like this.
So for additional payments, for Green Life Awards. Do I have any nays? That's all yes, you know. What was the other thing? I had something written on there really at the top of my agenda.
Oh, yeah, I still listed down. I didn't print one up, I'm sorry. College Square Stormwater.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, what's up with that?
So, I had a meeting with them. They have put stormwater into the Silva cells. I ended up speaking with Bruno Geary through a number of avenues. And I think that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, was that it's Bruno, right? Bruno Geary.
It is Bruno, yep.
I think he finally went to Kelly and had a long talk, and then it was shortly after that that they changed what they were doing. So they are allowing stormwater into the vaults. They're going to use like a series of overflow mechanisms to make sure that they don't get too much water. Really, I don't think that's necessary. There's an under drain, but whatever, they can do what they want as long as they get stormwater to the trees. So I think that was a big success. And I think SPG, the planning group, Smith Planning Group, is really excited about it as well. They have, I think the name of the company is Deep Root that makes the Silva cells. And they're actually working directly with SPG to design those vault and stormwater capacity infrastructures. So that's a little bit of good news.
It was our letter, right? That was-
I mean, it was. Well, I do want to give Bruno credit because I think I think person to person is huge. And I think the relationships that we build with people are really, really big, and how we can get things done. And I think that really showed right there that Bruno was able to do that.
Plus, Bruno has been such a big part of UON for so long, and he's just got he's so knowledgeable. He really understands, he knows what he's talking about, and he's not afraid to have that conversation. So there couldn't have been a better person really to talk to Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stormwater people, I was really pushing them to like, hey, let's make your voice heard. But they were not loud. So I'm glad somebody got loud, and I'm glad we wrote our letter. I think all of it definitely worked towards that goal. So well done. So what do we have on the agenda now that those two are out of the way?
Just welcome home. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so
Thank you, top of the agenda. Arbor Day. I think was that with the grant that you?
Yeah, so Arbor Day Foundation.
Okay.
I've spoken with some of y'all about this one. They approached me. Carrier HVAC wants to do a project very specific to Athens-Clarke County, where they plant trees. So they're wanting to get with some organization in Athens-Clarke County that will plant trees. And they specifically want to be addressing the urban heat island effect. So I immediately thought about World of Wonder Playground. It's been a place that's been on my mind for a really, really long time at this point. I get a lot of people complaining to me about it. So I'm gonna pass this one around this way and this one around this way. I talked with Leisure Services because it's their property, so we have to get their approval of it. Alex Bond did bring up, he was hesitant to do it because of vision lanes into the playground for the police officers. I will say there have been a number of issues here. There's even been somebody who OD'd and died in the restroom there. So this is a spot that I think it makes sense that they want clear vision lines into the playground. So they specifically wanted to be able to do that, going the speed limit and being able to see in. So I had Todd Miller from Leisure Services. He and I met a few times. And he drew in the vision lanes on that one. And then we also discussed like future plans for that playground to make sure that we're not planting where they have plans for something. It actually worked out really well because there's a few spots that I think really need sun or shade, lack of sun. And they work out perfectly with what they're planning for the future. I sent the request in, and actually I just got a reply today. Initially I said it'd be nice for us to do it on a Saturday in October, but they are asking for a weekday. So some Monday through Thursday on a late October day. So I think that's something we will all have to agree on. And also, I think we're gonna have to vote on even just taking this project on. You know, we haven't discussed it in a meeting yet. It was given to me kind of as a last minute thing from Arbor Day Foundation. They found me. But it does seem like they're interested and like the concept that I proposed.
Would we be the only volunteers?
No, Carrier would bring somewhere between 20 and 40 volunteers. They had up to like $25,000. I don't think we should try to use all of that. Really, I planned for 6 trees, I think. Those are large trees, like 3-inch caliper or greater.
I counted 9 green dots. Are the green dots?
So those are the ones that Todd said, these are potential spaces that we
Okay.
can put them. On the other one, though, you'll see my
Six,
numbered
yeah.
ones.
Okay.
There were a few spots in there that Todd had mentioned that I think there are other complications. So I took them out. Like one, there's like a water fountain where they're worried about roots intruding into the sump pump for it. So, you know, things like that.
So 6 is the most you can get.
They asked if we wanted to scale it up. If we can, will we scale it up? And if we can, should we scale it down? I said yes to both, if, you know, whatever they want. The potential for scaling it up, I think, would then bring it over to the dog park at that point, which I think is desperately in need of shade as well. I hear
Yeah.
from a lot of people.
We tried to float that issue and
Yeah, like the
possibility,
arboretum.
Yeah.
for a while. And it started with one thing and it kind of morphed into that. And that leisure services, they have a lot of constraints about things, it seems like. Art.
It was the art, isn't that what you're talking
That
about? That was the
That was,
sculpture?
that
You're
was
talking about-
one, but the other
Okay.
was just, the sculpture was a big problem because they were afraid some kid would climb it
That's right.
and skewer themselves or something. But another thing that we tried to float was putting trees inside the dog park itself. And of course, that would require some kind of fencing or something to keep people away from them, at least until the trees got well established.
Yeah.
And that was a sticking point because of the climbing on the fences and stuff on the inside of the fence. Anyway, I would love to see us revisit that if we could, if we have a more favorable group.
I think we do. Yeah, I think they're willing to do it as long as I've got Todd Miller behind us. You know, he's like the park planner. So a lot of times I think they really take what he says pretty well. But I've got a pretty good relationship with Alex Bond as well.
I
So
know that since we tried this, they put in some hardscape stuff to create some shade within the dog park proper itself, and that I guess takes some of the urgency away. But to try the size of those areas, arenas, to put trees around the edges just doesn't do a whole lot for the park, the dog area.
yeah, depending on like solar orientation, I mean,
Right.
it's tough to get a tree that's really doing a lot. You know, I think I guess we can cross that bridge when we come to it about the dog park. But as of now, these positions have been okayed. So that's good.
It's a good start.
What else about that one? We would, they want us to set aside funds for a professional photographer. 'Cause they want photos of the event. They would like some sort of learning opportunity that goes along with that. I mean, of course, planting a tree, you're gonna learn how to plant a tree. But I did put in there that I'm happy to do a short presentation on solar aspect and why Athens is laid out the way that it is. Because it is very much for keeping one very specific building in Athens cool. It was Old College. And then all of our roads were laid out parallel to Old College, but Old College was very specifically laid out 20 degrees above east. So that no sun would go into its southern windows in the middle of the summer. And I've got trustees minutes.
That is so interesting.
Wow.
That is,
I found trustees minutes where they talk about it, and it's really cool because all the F's, all the S's are F's.
Yes.
okay, which
So,
building are you talking about again?
Old College. So if you walk through the arch
Yeah,
and you go straight, it's the one straight ahead and just barely to the left.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, all the roads downtown were laid parallel to that one specifically. So people will talk about that if they want that. But I think we're gonna use Royal Landscaping. I've got quotes from them for them to bring machinery so that we don't have to carry trees. We can just take them right to the hole. And then basically volunteers would be digging holes. And cutting cages and refilling holes, basically.
That last tree that was set, that Arbor Day tree that was planted was what, 2017, I think. It's on here
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, wow.
That thing was big and it exceeded the machinery capacity pretty much. Billy Hall was
Yeah.
forester then, and they had a hell of a time getting that thing in there. It's a little crooked now, I think, still because they couldn't quite get it set.
Well, at first I thought that we would maybe have to go with much, much taller trees, just to get out of sight lines. But it seems like we're gonna be able to get away with, doing a standard 3-inch tree. I did also offer for us to try to find a tree that has a naturally upswept branching pattern. So maybe, American elm, like Creole Queen or Jefferson, not the Princeton variety, because those ones keep splitting. But there's a few other species we could do as well, that I think will work out well. But I think a 3-inch is just fine. If we go with much more, then we gotta have a really big machine. I wonder how big that one was when it was put in.
It was. I don't know what caliber, but it was bigger than 3 inches.
Okay.
Will the volunteers be mulching as well?
Yeah, I mean, we can really put them on anything.
But then we would need to get either mulch from here or mulch donated.
Yeah, I
This
can
is
get
what I'm
mulch put
thinking.
there.
Okay.
That shouldn't be an issue. We can get that for free. But I think maybe having a few groups from us where we all spread out to the different trees and then people are working under us, kind of, for each tree. So we can have a CTC member for each spot.
Is there an in-kind match to the grant?
We would have to pony up the money at first. They pay 80% upon planting. And then the final 20%, they would pay us, I think it's a year or a year and a half after. Once like whatever metrics are met. But we don't have to match, we would be reimbursed, but we would have to use the funds that CTC has and then be reimbursed.
Mhm.
So, with my application, it put us under 15,000 for the cost. I didn't want to like jack it up all the way to their max. But that allows us a little bit of room to increase, go with bigger trees if we want, do whatever we want. gives us a lot of wiggle room. That's also taking into account fencing that would go around trees, if we're gonna use that. Watering for 2 years. Basically, it would just be on my request. So I could just say, hey, Royal, can y'all go water these trees this week? And it would just be a cost each watering, but that would be baked into the pay. But yeah, no match for us. Essentially, it would be all paid for after we're reimbursed. So
You said Carrier would be providing volunteers, any of the learning or the teaching moment would be for their volunteers primarily, or will this be open to? I mean,
I think it's open to anyone, really.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that the youth conservation stewards at the Athens Land Trust would be interested in participating in
Oh.
that big time. Because part of their grant requires involvement with tree planting, and so they.
The other thing to keep in mind is they quite literally have a grant to plant trees on public lands throughout the county.
Yep.
That they're having a hard time finding places that are publicly accessible to plant trees. So if you step into the conversation about putting trees at the dog parks, remember, even if it's aside from this, remember that at least for the next year or 2 years, I believe, they have money for, they could, that would be a potential, like, trees are already like budgeted for, but they've got to find a place to put them in the ground that's on publicly accessible land. So it's just another avenue for the dog park conversation, things like that. They have to be within certain census tracts. I don't know if Southeast-Clarke meets that.
It doesn't,
It
not to
doesn't, I don't.
suggest.
But there might be some other areas that like dog park, something like that would, so that y'all kind of run through that. I just know like they've got the grant, but then finding the places to put the trees has.
They're real interested in the process,
Yeah.
the
with the
educational part of it.
learning they have.
Is that group Christina Hilton?
Yeah, oh, it's Athens Interest, Angela Rivera.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Because there's another one, I think it's like regenerative.
Yeah.
It's RICE is the acronym, and I think that's another similar group.
And I had thought Christina was actually coming to this meeting today.
I think she said she might be a little bit late.
Okay.
30 or something.
Okay. Okay,
Um,
just to speak to that, because I know she's always looking for opportunities for those students as well.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really good to have them. I think there's a few groups that really fit that bill at this point, the Athens Land Trust, the Rice Group, and then there's one other that's skipping away from my mind at the moment, but I think there are a few. And actually, I think they came to my last sip and stroll. I think it was the Youth Conservation Stewards. Just looking for things to do, to learn different events. So yeah, I think that would be a really good group to have. Good young energy. Youthful energy for it. So I think maybe we should try to make a motion to see if we agree with planting project with Carrier HVAC, or at least, if we're going to continue on in that direction. But I think we need to do that soon. If not this meeting, next meeting.
It seems like a good thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like free money and trees. So,
It's
I'm like,
very public
yeah.
visible, yeah.
like, I think this is an awesome thing that you went after. This is great.
So can someone motion something?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Lauren, motion. Motions to
populated.
hello. Got super corn here real soon. You make the motion. No, I'm joking. So what do we motion?
To accept the grant, whatever, our involvement?
The CTC's involvement. Carry rate back. And I guess, and the Arbor Day Foundation.
Yep.
in planting trees at the World of Wonder.
Yeah.
Does anybody second that?
I'll second.
All right, so actually we should do a show of hands for this one. So all eyes, raise your hand. Unanimous, all right. No nays.
Mateo, do you need like letters of support or anything like that?
I don't think so. They haven't asked for any.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if this is like a rubber stamp one or not. I'm not sure how much competition we have, but they made it sound like, hey, we want to work with you. It just makes sense. And usually if there is competition, then they ask for letters of support. So I don't think we need it, but I'll ask her. But actually, to piggyback off of that, because I need to reply to her tomorrow. They were wondering about doing it on a weekday, like a Thursday night, maybe, or a Thursday afternoon, something like that. Doesn't have to be Thursday. There can be other days. But I wanted to go ahead and put it to everyone here, and we vote on it so that I can actually go back to them with a true date that CTC has talked about. So if y'all have calendars out, I mean, good options would be like the 22nd or 23rd, maybe. That is the week before Halloween. So almost the end of October.
I like the idea of having it like not necessarily on a Friday in case something happens or we don't get all the trees in or something that there's, an extra day. You never, you know what I mean? Sometimes Fridays can be tricky.
A Wednesday or a Thursday, I think, might be best.
A Wednesday would be good for the Athens Land Trust guys, because they meet on Wednesdays.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, do we want to just try to facilitate that then and say a Wednesday?
That'd be the
Yeah.
22nd. Yeah.
What time are you thinking?
I would assume it's going to be, at the end of the workday, so 4:35, something like that. But it may end up being that we need, honestly, it'll probably be me being out there for most of the day, just getting stuff ready. And then I may ask for people to show up at 4 if they can.
Yeah.
Some will be going down a little bit earlier at that time of year,
Yeah.
so. We might be
Traffic
cutting it.
always stinks going out there. Sorry.
And it's not getting any better for a little while.
But they do have that tennis area. Well, if you had to go that way, I'm sure, never mind.
But like thinking about how
To make
long
it
you
sure
want to
that
have volunteers out there, Mateo, like.
We have them out there for more than 3 hours. It's gonna be, I think they're gonna lose,
So you're thinking 4 to 7?
I think
So
4 to
first-
7.
yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah, 4 to 7.
Yeah.
I was, okay.
All right, so what do y'all feel about 4 to 7, October 22nd? To plant some trees.
Works.
Bill, you like
I'll
that?
just raise my hand.
Well, maybe I can make a motion. I'll make a motion for us to have our tree planting for Carrier HVAC on October 22nd at 4 o'clock. Until 7 or 8, whichever one. Anybody second that?
Second.
Bill.
If you need some advanced crew,
Yeah,
solicit
Okay.
and get some of us out there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. I think I will do that.
It's like no one knows how hard that ground is gonna be.
I may get Royal out there to start too. Go ahead and do a couple of them.
Yeah.
We can auger and then people can just clean up the sides.
Yes.
It might make it way easier. And they are getting paid. I mean,
Yeah.
Royal is getting paid to help, so help us out.
Let them have.
Yeah.
Let them do a lot of the
Like,
heavy
mulch,
lifting.
like, that's always great for volunteers too. I mean, that's work, that's
Yeah.
work. So.
Yeah, I think cutting the cutting the cages and refilling and mulching are going to be the big ones. Because it may even be the case, honestly, that people get there and the trees are already in the holes. Like that could potentially happen. I don't know. That's what happened with the Welcome Center tree. I was just like, oh,
So did we just
That tree-
backfilled it?
yeah, we just backfilled and done. Yeah.
We did.
We did a lot of daffodils. That's right.
Right, I forgot.
Right.
The tree looks great down
It's happy. I've given it water a couple times, but for the most part, it's doing really, really well. All right, so made a motion, Phil seconds. If we can see hands for ayes. Okay, I was gonna say no. Oh, okay. No, so no nays, all yeas. Okay, so I think that is done. Actually, I think I'm gonna throw the agenda out for just a second, because I think we should say hey to Rachel.
Yes.
So everybody,
yes.
this is, Wick Pritchard has moved to Connecticut. His wife got a job out there teaching. They've always wanted to move back to the New England area. I think probably within the first few weeks of me knowing Wick, he had already dropped that bomb on me. And I told him, no, Wick, no, I don't agree.
Wow.
But it finally came. So they're gone now. Rachel was already in the planning department. Worked with her a lot in the past couple years. I'll let you introduce yourself. How about that?
I mean, that's kind of it, I guess. I guess graduated from UGA with the environmental economics undergrad. And I kind of just took the summer off once I graduated, and then in the fall just started working at the planning department immediately and stayed there for the last 3 years. And I've just kind of worked my way up. I work in the development services division, which is mostly like all of our by right stuff, so no like planning commission or anything like that. And it just kind of seemed like a natural path. A lot of what we studied in school was basically like forestry economics and ag economics, so it was it's been a pretty easy transition so far, but excited to learn some more, I guess, from you guys and with you.
When did you start?
Monday.
Oh.
Or I guess the class Monday, yeah.
But that's not really like, right, she got her office.
Yeah, I got my office and offer on Monday, but I have been like shadowing WIC for the last like month or so. And before that, even just like generally speaking, what my position made it really, my previous position made it really easy to kind of eavesdrop on a bunch of different departments and positions. So I've been learning a lot more about just the arborist side of things, as well as the stormwater and public works and utility involvement and things like that. So it's not been a overnight transition, I guess, which is, I guess, probably why it's been a bit easier to move forward. But I'd say, yeah, officially it was Tuesday, and the last month or so, kind of picking up Wick's little, last minute things.
It was really nice because I think Wick knew he was going, so he was like passing on the knowledge the whole time. So it made it easy because we had already talked with other people about, what are we looking at for TMPs, how we'd all like sit there and kind of powwow in the planning department and complain about different developers, or like what they're trying to do to get over on the TMPs, things like that. So Rachel has definitely had a lot of time to take all that in through osmosis, and then here lately through like active sucking in all of the information that she can.
A lot of info dumping the last like 3 weeks, I'd say. It's just trying to get as much as I can into my brain.
But it's been really good because I was helping a little bit with the arborist. They were like spreading it out between a few different people. And for about a week or two, everybody was referring to me as the arborist. So everybody called me with the arborist. I'm like, no, I'm not the arborist. But it's really been a learning experience, I think, for everybody, because now we have Mark Beechuk, who was the was the arborist. Now he's the assistant director of planning. Kind of be able to take Rachel under his wing, and really, I think that's been good for me as well, because I can ask these questions that, well, I ask too many questions in general, but I'm asking questions or learning things that I didn't necessarily think to ask when Wick was there. So it's really nice to now start bouncing stuff off of the new assistant director, which I really like Mark as the assistant director. planting. He's very tree friendly. So,
Yeah.
you should all be happy.
Yeah, Mark's worked here years ago and he was fantastic when he worked here.
Yeah, he's great.
I worked with him too.
Really?
He used to be on the Arts Commission.
Well, he's a Renaissance man.
It's round.
He
And he's
used
a
to paint
beekeeper.
barrels for our Roll Out the Barrels event.
Wow, okay. I like him more and more. Okay.
He drinks good beer too.
He likes his beer.
Okay, so that's Rachel. Welcome, Rachel.
Nice to meet y'all.
Which I think actually you and I need to go look at Cafe Racer.
Yes, you were earlier that they called you.
Yes, Steve Sanchez. Cafe Racer is almost ready on the east side, yay. I've been waiting for many years. I like their coffee. Okay, so now back to the agenda maybe. Maybe it's a good idea for us to head back to that. What do we got?
So, well, thinking about our coffee, because that's quickly approaching. So what we're maybe gonna work with the Historic Athens.
Yeah, I haven't
Or-
talked with them much lately,
Okay.
but we need to talk with them.
I know maybe we had thrown out Porch Fest, which is, I think, October 19th, 20th, that Sunday. So it'll be coming quick. And then with that, still with all our just coffee fundraiser, I guess we need to talk to David about the art and get that.
Yeah,
Or see maybe where we,
Jesse reached out to me. She said that David has replied. He's working on it.
awesome.
He was out of the country for a while. And I did also kind of backhandedly get Marissa Mustard also to just still be thinking about it, just in case David didn't come through.
Okay.
Because for a while, David was not replying to any of my emails. He still has yet to reply to any of my emails, but he has replied to Jesse.
Okay.
So still have that in our back pocket.
When do we need that to get that to Charlie to start?
Late September.
Late September, okay.
Yep.
All right. And then thinking ahead of like how we would accept all this money that's gonna come our way. So we may need Pam, but maybe making sure our PayPal and Venmo and Zelle, whatever we want, we can accept money.
Yeah, because we had like Square
Yeah.
a long time ago. I
Okay.
haven't dealt with it, but before I was here, y'all used Square.
That's right.
I think we could probably use Venmo. I'm pretty sure we could. Our organization could. And a few other options. It sounded like Pam was pretty confident in us being able to do it and
Okay.
not really worried about it
What-
being an
yeah.
issue.
Okay,
But I'm gonna put in here something for me to follow up with,
Yeah, ask Pam, I think it gets a little tricky with Venmo for nonprofits. They don't have, it really kind of boils down to how much we want to pay per service. There's a service fee. And I feel like for Keep Athens-Clarke County Beautiful, we've ended up using PayPal because it was kind of the easiest route because we were able to make like a QR code that went right to PayPal. And then also on our website, we had that same, like everything kind of went to the same place. Whereas I think Venmo, I can't remember all the reasons why it got tricky, but it did.
okay.
And then the Square isn't really reliable, I would say. I'm not sure where they're at now, but for a while they were just kind of unreliable in terms of the actual Square. So we at one point decided to bite the bullet and just deal with the PayPal kind of service fee situation, which I think is a little bit less with nonprofits. You have to kind of go through something, but you still have a fee.
I would imagine there's like authorization fee and then a percentage or like 3%.
Yeah, but we just, after like years of trying to not have the fees, we decided that we were just gonna go with ease of user ease.
It makes sense to
Yes.
Because very often people will just not make the purchase if they can't use their card.
That's right.
Yeah.
And especially because you're talking about multiple locations and multiple
Right.
users, it kind of, it gets a little tricky.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
Just a little bit. So when you're talking to or Pam about it, maybe.
So I'll say, Stacy says 10 of 10 would recommend for PayPal.
I would just tell her to look into PayPal first and see,
Okay.
because I think that after all of our research, that ended up being the
Easiest.
easiest.
And then do we need to find places that would be willing to, where we could sell it? Or talk to,
Daily Co-op is willing to sell it.
okay.
Talked with them. They're very excited
Might
to
be
sell it.
coming out.
What?
They're not doing well, so I would almost be surprised, or,
Oh, I've heard that too.
yeah, like, we need, they're not, that's not gonna be a sure thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, we can all start shopping there tonight, but like, just saying, it's seeming a little,
What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's so sad.
so we need to just have another action plan.
Community does a lot of
Like that.
local
Yeah.
product.
What's
kind of
community?
stuff. It's mostly clothing downtown, but they also do jewelry and they got quite a selection of coffee, soaps, candy and homemade things made in Athens. They kind of specialize in that.
Okay.
No, it's it's on Jackson Street.
Very cool. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Or over.
Yeah, over back,
That Figments by the library.
They are, yeah.
They're mostly doing like fermented stuff,
Yeah,
but it wouldn't surprise me if they will sell coffee though.
right.
I've got a relationship with them. I'll talk with them because they donated for the Sip and Strolls. They donated kombucha for it, so they might be a good option. Online sales are also a thing that we could do
Yeah.
too. You know, that
a
doesn't.
lot of departments have said, I know the solid waste department would have some there and sell it there.
Hmm.
I already asked, so.
Okay.
But
And who'd you say?
a lot of the government departments.
Oh, okay,
So like
okay.
public, like like especially places where folks come in, like customers come in.
Right.
Like we have a lot of people that come into our office, so, we can just have it right there.
They might sell it at the Hotel Indigo. I can ask them. Cause they like to carry local stuff for people to buy for like their souvenir family stuff.
Swag.
Yeah, swag.
Swag.
I'll check in with them.
And I can ask at Piedmont Provisions, because there's a good friend of mine, and so and she's expanding a little bit. So into the next store over, so.
Really?
Yeah, so she might totally love to do that.
They moved from Winterville to somewhere new, right?
So she's like right on Barber Street, by the climbing gym or across, just I say, near some of the local bars and stuff there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Hidden gem. So right across from, and Bouvet.
I think some of the Jittery Joe's stores would be willing to do it. They're
Yeah.
just gonna take a bigger cut.
Yeah.
But I know there's the potential for them to sell them as well. We just get much less money from it.
Sam, if you wanted it downtown, we could always ask, Sam Bear Honey. Bear, what is the name? Is the store Bear Honey, called Bear Honey?
Something like
Yeah, is that Bear Honey? Yeah, I mean, I can ask Sam if you wanted me to. They sell some local stuff in there too.
Next to Margot's?
Yes, well, not really anymore. It's like towards the other side.
Huh.
Close to the native.
It's like,
that jewelry
that's right next door to Native America.
Because yeah, I'm just looking at trees when I go downtown. Don't care at all about this.
Well, the reason like there's so many people, because I think a lot of people are tree friendly, like these are people I know and they're all like, oh, it's for the community. I mean, I feel like it's kind of an easy sell.
Yeah.
But I guess the question would be, are you asking if these people are gonna kind of make a space and sell it, or are you,
I don't know how you would.
yeah, do you set a like, do they get anything for that? Or, I mean, I think some folks would just do it to be kind, but
Right, and then how does that work?
how does that work,
You're
right?
doing like a vendor, think about what you're putting in someone's store, like,
Yeah.
how do you, I don't,
Is the QR code?
yeah, that's where the QR code is helpful. That's,
Right.
they probably just tell you maybe what they sold, they, some stores.
I would visualize like a little kind of stand-up QR code, like a small one that goes by the coffee that, you know, folks, that's for like the businesses that are like, I will do that out of the kindness of my heart,
Yeah.
kind of a
Right,
thing,
right.
you know, because it's really just space for them. But if there were businesses that didn't feel that way and what, I don't know, how do you,
I mean,
What do
they
you-
must have some way they do it at the Indigo, because they do carry like local candles or one thing or another. I don't know how they do it at community,
yeah,
Yeah, I think
so, but
Well,
they
that's-
have some,
almost like, does it like-
they can keep track, they keep track
Right,
of their
exactly.
stock. I'm sure they
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
way of keeping track.
Cause they,
of
like, you know,
stuff.
with QR codes, then you're asking them to be responsible for keeping track of this, like how much
On that
is there, how
ceiling.
much leaves, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, but you also could be like, okay, all of you folks are getting 20 bags. Everybody's got 20 bags, right? And in a month, we're gonna check and see how many are sold. And I don't know, I just feel like a lot of
Right.
people would be super supportive. But maybe I'm, you know, maybe it's more hassle than it's worth it.
I mean, some artists will do it where they put on their PayPal and then whatever store it's in, you can do the code, you pay for it, show the people your receipt, receipt for it, and then you can take it. You know, it's not a sale for them, but they just have to verify that it has been purchased and you know, so you can maybe do something like that.
But if you weren't doing it that way, what would you do? Like add an extra dollar on and say like the commission, like how would you? And
To give some money to the retail store.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, you could always add a little bit extra on top for their cut. Because I mean, honestly, with tariffs, I don't know if we're gonna be able to sell it at 20. I know we had planned on that, right? Because $12.95 for us to get the 10 with it filled. I wonder if that's gonna remain the same. I'm gonna ask Charlie about that soon. There's no plans as of yet that I've heard, but like the co-op going out of business, maybe we should just consider it likely.
I shouldn't say that, I'm being a downer.
no, I heard that.
I'm going to buy some kombucha from there here in just a little while, just cause.
But the other thing, Mateo, would be great would be like a stock email with a picture of the can and the QR code that all of us can just take and send out to all of our peeps. You know what I mean? Because I think that that's gonna go far and wide too, especially knowing it's a tree council and just wanting to support a local nonprofit. Like people, you know, if we can have that, I think, and then it'll be.
Figure out how you get the coffee to the
Right.
people and it keeps up on the back.
Right. Like where do they pick it up from or do we deliver it or?
Yeah, most everybody has this. Neighborhood is pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
And when is it gonna be available?
We'd like it to be available for Christmas. You know, so 1st of December. At least that's the time scale that we were looking at if we got art back in September. Then we've got enough time for it to get to the printers, get the cans, then start getting them filled, so. At least that's what Charlie said, we should have 6 weeks. For us to be able to get all that stuff done, so we're getting close. Another month. It's coming fast. Yeah. So hopefully we see something from David real soon. That'd be nice. We shall see. I'll hold my breath with artists.
It's gonna be great.
All right, what else we got?
Any more sip and strolls coming up?
Actually, yes. So I think Holly and I are going to do one with a few other Warnell professors, probably Dan Johnson, or maybe one of her old PAs.
Oh, nice.
We're not sure if we're going to do that Dudley or maybe Winterville, but it's going to be like a tree ID walk.
Oh, fun.
And I think what it may end up being is more like, because the last one that I did, there were a lot of people. Probably more people than I can really handle by myself. So I think what we may do is do a few different groups to do tree ID, like some go with Holly, some go with Dr. Johnson, some go with Emma, I think was her TA. And then maybe I can kind of just be the MC, get everybody started, get people moving, go from group to group, interjecting here and there. Is kind of what I'm seeing or what I'm thinking of. That will be probably September 25th.
September.
Have you chatted with Heather or Christine with Leisure Services if you're doing that?
Yeah,
Okay. Heads up, because I know that they,
we had to do that for South. So that will be if we're at Dundee, if we're in Winterville, then I'm gonna have to talk with their commission.
and what date was that? Because what days, that's it during the day?
I think it's September 25th. So a Thursday. Weekends just are really not good in the fall here. We had a few dates and then they were all game days. So we're like, okay, that's not gonna work. So I think a Thursday is what we're trying to do.
Time.
Like 5 to 7. I've yet to release that to anyone. We're still, Holly and I are still kind of in the planning phase, but that'll be coming out really soon. Really soon, so.
Well, maybe we can, not that I'm very good with social media, but we could put it out there.
Yeah, I actually think the public information office to do it. They did it on
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram, and they said that Facebook was by far their best avenue to
Okay,
get people
okay.
interested in things.
So
So
Mary, sent us that information for the tree council's Facebook. We can at least
Oh,
get
really?
into it.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
sweet. That'd be.
Okay.
Can you send me that?
Yeah.
Cool. Try to get in there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, let me put it here.
And then last was your request from,
Yeah,
I think
so-
before, which we may have missed.
No, you didn't miss. I, at the last minute, had to make the decision not to put in for the grant because I never got a final confirmation from our attorney's office as to whether or not it would work with our gratuities clause and whether they were like, I didn't get a response back to my request or couldn't weigh in. They're busy and they're short staffed, so it is what it is. That coupled with the fact that I would then be asking for permission or forgiveness instead of permission based on the grants, and you're supposed to put an item in for grants of certain amounts. And we would have already been doing that. And then on top of not knowing whether or not at the end, if we got it, they're gonna come back and say, no, you can't actually use that money for what you want to use it for. I decided. And then coupled with the fact that when I started doing the numbers, for the I'm not 100%, I don't know how much participation actually we would get and how many trees. And so for the low volume of trees that we would need, it was a lot of work on the in-kind and my side for like 50 trees worth of money, where like if I could just find a different way to fund 50 trees, it would be a much simpler. It seemed like a lot of pull of work to get a grant for money that like, and then have to do makeup hours to do the match, because we'd have to do 100%. Like we'd have to do that match, and when you add all the time and everything into it for the fact that I have no sure way of knowing how much participation we will get, and then knowing I'd have to have a plan for those trees, and then in the end, like trying to do the numbers of then how do you do the in-kind for that. So everything coupled together, I made the decision at the last to be like, you know what, we're gonna step back from that. We're gonna do a little bit more kind of thinking of how to do it and do it well so that I don't go find the trees. Oh, but you can't use them for what you said. But then I said to this, you know what I mean? So I felt like it was kind of a rush thing to put that together, especially not knowing how much participation, because we live in a weird, not weird, but I mean, it can be. But like a lot of people don't, like we did some survey, right? But like we only got 250 students in their semester project. We had like 200 like people participated, but if you look at it from the point of view, you have to be the owner of the land. Like we were in that situation where a lot of our folk
we have a very strong renter-based kind of community, and so knowing how much participation we would get on that particular tree in an event and not knowing how to gauge it, it was just a lot of work and a lot of mental calculations based on like not really good information. And if I'm gonna do a program, I'd like to do it well.
Yeah.
But not, it'd be kind of, and I think, well, it's a good program, but then there were some other ideas floated that getting together for that deadline just weren't gonna work. So I had to make that decision. And when I say last minute decision, like I ran it right up until the night before. I was like, do I do this? Do I not? Do I dismiss this? And that was the decision. So y'all did miss it. Well, only reason why I made the point to come today to say thank you, but stay tuned. And we'll attempt to circle back with maybe a little better planned out idea. Yeah, that's kind of where that stands. So sorry, I appreciate your willingness, but like it's a weird thing to know that like this is such a simple thing to do. And like I have the money in my budget, I can go buy the trees, but I can't. And so then me coming up with the in kind and the match was more work than the actual like getting the trees and like, so it's this weird kind of like I had to just kind of weigh the pros and cons, and at that point it was not worth it based on everything else that I'm going on. So I'm not saying we won't do it in the spring, I'm just saying that we're not going to be using enough money. So yes, long story, long answer.
Sometimes you just gotta
Yeah.
cut it loose and say, no, I'm not
Be
doing it.
realistic in what you can and can't do, and after doing all of the mental hoops, it became apparent that at this point I need to kind of say no on that one.
For now.
On that grant funding opportunity, and hope that there's a different avenue where we can do it with a little less like having to match, but still meets that opportunity spots.
What's next?
That was pretty much it.
All right, well, we got a visitor. How are you?
How are you?
Doing very well. We might as well give you the floor. Introduce yourself.
Some of you I already know, some of you I'm meeting for the first time. I'm Christina Eagleton. I'm from an organization that I co-founded called Regenerative Institute of Community Education. And I'm an educator and I work part-time with UGA out of Women's Studies Department, as well as with the Athens Community Career Academy. And we have a program through our nonprofit that is looking at planting trees, 150 trees here in Athens on public spaces. And so we're concentrating in Virginia Walker Park, some schools and public housing. Thanks to Stacy, who really helped support the development of the program. It was funded, it's a 3-year program. We're really excited about it. We had 15 youth this summer who were paid 20 hours a week to participate in these paid internships where they were at W&A Engineers, they were at the farmers market, the Marigold Farmers Market, they were at the Brooklyn Cemetery looking at invasive species, things like that, and doing some clearing. So we're really excited to continue that work and then start planting this winter and maintaining those trees with youth. Those youth also learn about diverse careers in urban forestry and conservation programs. We've taken them on college trips, and they also do financial literacy activities. So we're excited to be a part of that and to push it forward, and then also see, if there's any possibilities of collaborating here with the Athens Tree Council in one or more ways.
Your ears must have been ringing because we were talking about you earlier.
Yes, and sorry to be late because I was leaving another meeting. I thought this meeting started at 6, and so I had double booked, so I do apologize.
You did well though with checking earlier in the day. Like usually when I check, it's like I'm checking at 5 o'clock. I'm like, I was there at 6, right? And so well done at least on that.
Tell me again what RICE stands for?
Regenerative Institute of Community Education. And the reasoning behind that name is we're really rethinking about institutional building in the 21st century around maybe forefronting experiential learning over theoretical knowledge. I'm gonna say over, because then that gives it that hierarchical kind of structure. And we're really looking at like pushing, Booker T. Washington and Du Bois as a partnership rather than one or the other. So a lot of times we talk about theory and praxis, and this is just looking at praxis and theory.
So you said W&A Engineering, and who were the other ones that they were?
They were with NRCS out of Oconee County, USDA. They were with W&A. They were with the Marigold Farmers Market, the Botanical Gardens. I think we had like 8 or 9 different placements.
How'd it go?
It went really well.
They enjoy, because those are all really good learning opportunities and all, like they all present kind of different.
Yes.
different
It does. They had a really good experience, and like you said, various opportunities in education and planning and like direct services. So they had a lot of different, a taste of a lot of different things. And we, at the end, did have a community conversation, a community discussion where we invited all the stakeholders, parents, community members, and students, and they presented and they had a conversation about, why they thought planting trees in public spaces would be a good idea and like what issues might arise and maybe even looking at some solutions. And so it was a great opportunity for a lot of different people and young people to come together at the table and have that kind of conversation.
How many kids was it again?
We had 13 kids and then 2 young adults. And the students are high school and college students, and the idea is that the high school students who participate and then go on to college will be able to come back, because what we found in previous projects, a lot of times students in the environmental science class that I teach often find that they like the field and then they want to go study it, and then they sign up to do environmental science or biology, and then they're in college and they're like, well, I'm kind of interested in this, but they don't know the pathway still. So it's an opportunity for them to get some hands-on work to experience what possibilities are out there in terms of like direct pathways. So we see that college students also need that kind of support. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's so interesting, actually. I mean, I'm like, when I went to college, I was in environmental science and there wasn't really a pathway. And so I took forestry classes and I took recreation and resource management classes with Dr. Cook and like, because they were trying to figure out the pathway. And to hear 30 some odd years later that it's still sort of an issue, it's kind of interesting, I mean, really, yeah, it is.
I was the same way. I mean, and my own, I would kind of was like, I think I just want a Park Service hat. And that was sort of like the guiding.
I personally like the belt.
The belt, I know.
For a long time.
So yeah, it does the belt, is it like 8 point? So yeah, it was very,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's great though to give folks that opportunity.
We were actually mentioning earlier, we're hoping to do a big planting sometime in October at the World of Wonder Playground. It'll be a big volunteer event, so y'all are definitely invited to come to that. And I think the CTC would be a good group to discuss, planting at Walker Park. And I think I may have put you in contact maybe with John Michael Jones, the park supervisor. If not, I should get you in contact with him and we can kind of discuss the Walker Park plantings, make it official. Leisure Services will also have to be read in on it, but usually we have pretty good working relationship with them. So, and Walker Park is part of the CGEST area, so as well.
I was just thinking like another opportunity for them might be MLK Day of Service. whatever this group decides to do, because we do tend to do a service project every year, knowing that maybe there's, 10 to 15 others to support whatever our choice is, might make us make a different decision. You know what I mean? Knowing that we essentially would have that in volunteers. Yeah.
And also, I just would add in there too, in February, we'd love like any participation as well, but we will be doing some planting. Our hope is that we can have a planting activity at Virginia Walker Park and host a festival there, an education and cultural festival, talk about our community's relationship to trees and land and conservation. And then also, educational activities around how to plant trees, how to care for trees, and why it's important and its interrelationship between like health and wellness and all of those kind of good things.
And that's kind of like an Arbor Day celebration, right?
Right. It'll be certainly planned around that.
Which this group has done different things over my 25 years. It's been like, we had festivals, we had luncheons, we've had tree climbs. What did we do last year?
We did the welcome center planting.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It wasn't as fun as a tree climb.
Were they tree climb this year?
Some of the original.
Somebody hit some of the originals, he just said. Yeah, the old school, when you didn't have to have all the liability insurance.
That was just me. It wasn't like.
I do remember that.
So, but yeah, we did do the kids too.
Yeah.
The Genevieve.
Yeah, at Sandy Creek Nature Center.
Yeah.
We used to do the tree climb. Wildly popular.
That liability insurance knocked that.
I think it did.
We still have like kids stuff, like we can swing that again. We still have like all of the recreational tree climbing saddles,
The CTC does?
like we do.
Oh, New Urban. I mean, I know Jesse gets insurance for single events.
And I do believe one of the last times we did, and I think it was really expensive, if I recall. Are you remembering that, right?
Yeah, I think it's like $600 to
Yep,
$1,000.
it kind of got us. It ended up being like a wash, because in the old days, the tree climb was free, and then it became something we ended up having to have participants pay for, right? To help pay for the liability insurance.
It was really touch and go. I mean, like, it was on, it was off, it was on. But, like I can't remember what the last organization was. It was Jesse with the Georgia Arborist Association, I guess.
Yeah.
That we hosted an event. They hosted an event for kids, adults alike.
Such a cool thing though for kids, like talking about kids who are interested in a professional career. I mean, or it's so sad that sometimes some of those things just go away because of liability. I mean, I get it, but it's
Yeah.
experiential education that's so important.
Well, I think maybe we should all be pondering on I mean, I know it's a ways away, and I know we got other things on the list, but thinking about Arbor Day next year, and just trying to come up with some possibilities, just so we're not scrambling at the end. But maybe something a planting at Walker Park along with other organizations as well might work well. I want to do climbing, honestly.
We used to do a lot of tree crafts too. That was also really popular. Maureen O'Brien used to lead a lot of the kids' activities around.
Who was that?
Maureen O'Brien.
You still around or? Huh.
She was on this committee for, I feel like, a lifetime. She was chair. First generation. She was chair over and over again, but she also taught at the university and then took care of the president's, is that what it's called, the President's Garden?
Yeah.
What, right?
John
Founders Garden.
Thank you, yeah. And I think she has since now retired, but she was,
Is she a science teacher now?
It's different than Debbie.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking, Debbie.
yeah, yeah,
Sure she.
but she is honestly someone, if we ever wanted to honor somebody, she is the reason why we have trees at so many of the schools. She wrote all of those grants, and I helped her write several grants, but she was, you know, the lead grant writer for years and years and years to, I mean, you could go to so many of the schools that in our community, and she was the reason they have trees.
Do you have contact information from her? I feel like
Yeah, I
I need
can
to speak
get
with her.
Yeah, I can get it.
I'd love to
If
get
you
it.
want to send me a quick email in the morning,
Yeah,
give
definitely.
it to you. And she still does stuff, like she still, I know Stacy Smith still sees her. She borrows tools from the tool shed and does some neighborhood stuff. So she's still at it,
Okay.
but she's very, very knowledgeable.
And she's involved with the Boulevard Garden Club
Okay,
also.
Plant Society.
like she's a smart cookie, and then she's active, like actively engaged in all of the things that she preaches about, you know, so she's one of those.
Maureen O'Brien.
I just sent you her contact.
I know, because it was a star-studded cat, you're right. They used to also do a ton with policy, you guys. Maureen, she was no nonsense.
Hmm.
Developers want. Like Barrow Elementary, you guys remember Barrow back in the day, how they had all those huge trees? And then they renovated that school. She was a part of, you know, forcing them to plant trees, and I mean, she really had a big part. So she was also on the kind of policy side as well with the school district.
And she did a lot of work with the Greenway in the initial days, surveying.
Oh, well, while we got time, I guess I should give you an update on what I'm doing. Tree that owns itself, I air spaded it a couple weeks ago. So they were redoing the driveway right that goes over its roots. A few different contractors contacted me over the past year, kind of wanting to discuss how they could do that, because half of that driveway is in the right of way. So just dealing with each contractor as they would come through, the homeowner kept firing them and getting new contractors, so I'd have to redo it every single time. But finally, they stuck with a contractor. I had them very specifically park their machinery so that they could pull all the concrete away from the tree. And then I air spaded below it. I actually have some really cool pictures. I'll send them out, but along the edges, you know, usually where water is where roots are going to be. They're looking for water. So along cracks or along kind of the you know, where each panel abuts the next one, that's where water will get in. So usually you'll see roots along those. So I air spaded all that out and exposed roots that were there. They were exactly where I expected them. And then I had the contractor put 57 stone, which was like a large gravel, and put it around the roots until it got up to the very top of the roots. That way, all the water that gets under the driveway is then drained to the bottom of the 57 stone. And roots that are up inside of it will desiccate. They're not going to, you know, get as large circumferentially, and all of their fine fibrous roots are going to go down to the water. So then you have less damage to the driveway, because usually what happens is you've got ground, driveway right on the top of it, and those roots run right in between the two. And then as they get bigger, they throw the driveway. Instead, what we're doing is we're making the roots go down below the gravel. And then as they get bigger, they dissipate the gravel, right? They're breaking the gravel, moving the gravel instead of the driveway. So I was really happy I got them to do that. We put 6 mil poly sheeting over the top of that. So none of the drainage from the concrete would get into the soil. It's really high pH. And I was able to have them scooch the driveway over about 10 inches. There was a really big root like nodule right on the inside of that curve. And I didn't want them to cut it out. So I just told them, it's like, hey, let's scooch this over. So they worked back from way farther back, just slowly shifting until they got to there where they were able to make their way around it. But I was able to create wells. So a lot of times you'll take like so you'll take like a traffic cone and you cut the top off of it so that you can put your airspace down into it. And you put it on the ground and then you blast into the ground and it blasts stuff up into the cone, but you can work your airspace down. And once I got about 1.5 feet down, I replaced that with mushroom compost and biochar. So that should be really nice, voluminous rooting area that's really friendly for the tree now. I got 6 of those wells around the outer edge of that circular wall. What else did we do? We didn't have to cut any roots though, so that was really good. Was really happy with that. So all that work was, I think it paid off, because if I hadn't done that, then I think they would have just torn those roots out with an excavator and gone to town. So I'm really happy with how it's looking. The tree looks happy. I know most people can't necessarily see that, but I feel like I can. It may just be, it's not, I'm not on smelling salts or anything, don't worry.
Who is the contractor? That's awesome.
Yeah.
They're a local one, actually. Eddie Lumpkin was the concrete guy, and then the demo guy was a guy that does landscaping here. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but good old boy, like crazy drawl in his voice. I could barely understand him, but very intelligent. He actually showed me a Franklinia tree that's in a pot here in Athens. So I thought that was really cool. I did not expect him to show me that. He was like, "Hey, man, you want to see a Franklinia tree?" I was like, "No, I do. I sure do, buddy. Let me see." So great success with the tree that ends itself. And I do see a lot of acorns on it this year. So I think we may actually get acorns for the first time in what, 3 years, 4 years? Been a long time.
It's a good last year for what it looks in general.
I'm hoping. I see stuff on it. And that tree has not had acorns for at least 2 years. Nothing like that. They are forming now. So, yeah. That's my tree that ends itself update. We got 8 minutes. Like closing time. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up?
Well, I have a rant.
I like your rant, good.
My usual rant is the number of our canopy trees that are killed by invasive vines, mainly wisteria, kudzu, and English ivy, which is just very easily preventable. It just doesn't need to be happening at the scale that it's going on. But I've become curious, maybe we can find out how much of our power outages lately might be tied to trees that are infested with invasive vines. And is that something we can ask the power company, like this tree that fell on the wire?
I can speak.
Can we document the cause?
It does not like to give out outage information. Well, we've tried. Some of the other, like Jackson, they might give it, like we specifically asked for some of that data for different purposes, for energy management, and like they don't like to give out their outage data and where outages happen and why.
I've documented some of it.
Yeah, I just know
on my own.
But look at that for department for this. Yeah.
So something, go ahead.
Well, sort of along that same line, a few days ago on the Whitehall Road, if you were driving toward Watkinsville, there was there's a little pod right there by I forget the name of that little side street, but it's a famous wisteria patch. Every tree in there is covered up.
Drive, I think is the
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Security.
There was like one tree that fell over during a storm, and it sits there. All the trees were tied together in the area. 4 other trees fell, and they all landed in Whitehall Road. So
Really?
we can say now that wisteria is a danger to trees and a danger to public safety because they're falling in the road.
I think that may still be called Barnet Shoals there. Barnet Shoals takes,
Now, the part it shows is that turns at the lights.
turns at the light, but
So,
isn't this between the
Yeah.
fire station and the light?
yeah, that's the spot.
Still Barnet Shoals
Yeah.
there.
Um,
Security drive.
If y'all ever see something like that, please take photos. A lot of times when we get large storm events, I'm out in the field for days, just looking at different trees, but I don't get to all of them. You know, a lot of, right-of-way supervisor, operations coordinator, public works people. They're all going out to look at trees, failures that are blocking the roads, like streets and drainage does it a good bit.
But yeah, I got
So-
photos of that.
A lot of times I don't get any data for those trees, those failures. And that is a big blind spot. I wish we had more. And actually, a guy named Jesse Milton, you probably know Jesse. He's a consulting arborist. He just moved to Winterville. And he and I met and we're thinking about trying to do like a tree failure database specifically for Athens, Georgia. Just to see kind of what are our typical failure profiles. I know there was a group trying to do that nationally for a while, but it was tied to grant money, and it never took off. But Jess and I were talking about possibly trying to get all the track arborists in Athens to start keeping data of tree failures, so we can have a very specific tree failure profile or database for Athens-Clarke County. And that would be something that, that would be part of the data that we would take. But if you see anything like that, especially with like wisteria covering it, I would love to have photos of it.
They're in the phone, I'll send it.
Cool, very cool.
Sadly, that patch of trees that got pulled down, that creates a perfect environment for that wisteria to grow.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there ought to be a law that whoever owns that property shouldn't let that go.
I agree.
I mean,
And
it kind of is, but it kind of not.
well, some of the western states, don't they have noxious weed laws where you've got to clean your ditches of any kind of weeds that are of certain invasive characteristics?
They could do.
Or you get fined if you don't.
We can do it now, but I think the attorney's office doesn't quite know yet how to do our nuisance vegetation ordinance, so. I don't know, have you heard anything additional about that?
The conversations are that like, it's hard to. So right now it's complaint driven. Like it's the noxious weed, but it's complaint driven based on if you can complain that your neighbor is allowing it to come over onto your, and you have to show that you have tried to keep it off of your property. But the problem then becomes the grandfathering in and, private property, right? It's all of that. And like, then how do you litigate? How do you hold someone accountable for like, well, is that mine? Well, or it just grew through the trees and it's on my property, and so part of it is how do you assign, like, where did it come from? Where, and there's all those pieces to it. Like when we went through, even to get the code redone where it is, like there were lots of conversations and concerns and like unwillingness on the part of some departments to have to regulate that and things like that. So
One of the things that seems like some of those species, like wisteria, just getting free range to come onto the property and attempt to control it for them without even the property owner having to foot the bill for it would be desirable.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll volunteer.
you'll do it in a park, you do it in a piece of private property too, if you were given access and permission.
It seems similar to me. I mean, illegal dumping, like if I go and I dump on Phil's private property, Phil has to pay to have it cleaned up. And if he doesn't, he gets cited. And he didn't do it. And it doesn't matter. It's that's your property and you must take care of it. I look at noxious weeds that way, kind of like illegal dumping. You know, I mean, we already do that in Athens-Clarke County. We already cite people because nobody likes to see illegal dumping on private property, but,
Regardless of the footage.
right.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's already there. Like when people start to talk about litigation and the back and forth, we're already doing that. We, you know, and yeah, you know, private property, sometimes it's really not fair, you know, and we try and work with folks and, our code enforcement department tries to work with folks especially when it's really not their doing, but it's an ordinance. It is what it is, you know? So I do think that there is a pathway sometime in our future. I don't know if it's like
I
tomorrow.
disagree. I also, like, I know what I've heard as the reasonings.
Mhm.
It's also one of the ideas of like, well, you can't go after the public until you get your own house in order in this kind of thing. And there are lots of publicly owned lands in this county, both county owned public lands, state owned public lands, UGA owned lands that are also infested. And so it's really hard to then go after a private individual when you can turn and go, oh, but, and you know, like I can put the fingers pointing back at me, and like, so it's also like, there's the cost, there's that, there's a lot, it's not, I'll be honest, like the commissioners, were very, at least on the LR, when we did the review, the legislative review, like most of, there was a will to like go further than what we even went on the commission side. At least that was a part of that. It was voice opposition that wasn't necessarily from the commission when it kind of came down to it, so.
We did get a new manager in Athens-Clarke County though.
That's right.
I met him the other day, seemed like a nice guy. Haven't had much interaction though. But he did have questions about our tree ordinance for me, so I liked that. Because I think they had a pretty strict one in Roanoke where he came from, so I don't think it'll be out of place for him to see enforcement or to want enforcement from our ordinance, so that's good. Because one of the past acting managers did not. So.
Well, there's your 8 minutes.
Voila!
I'll motion to adjourn.
There we go.
I'll second
The
it.
easy one.
Julie seconds.
How do you word?
So 5:32. All right, y'all. Well, good meeting.
Stephanie, if you're ever in those meetings again with illegal dumping on state and county property, it happens the same and people make us be accountable and we make the state be accountable to state property in Athens-Clarke County. So it actually, all of those things apply, they actually still clean it up. Everybody still cleans it up. They complain about it, but they still have to do it. You should use that as like an activity in the meeting to be like. It's the same too bad so far right now. It's my favorite bag in the whole world.
I use it a lot. It's already during spring.
Yeah, mine, I want mine a few days ago and it breaks pretty bad.
In the summer.
Yeah.
This is, so we were talking about the trees being planted out there.
I know, but the thing is that we try to. Yes, that's issues. Well, you know, issues. Yeah.
I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, I know.
Kill me, you did.
Well, very good.
It's nice.